why have they picked Rozanski, who is, as far as I'm concerned, inactive, when they could have picked one of their current champions? Why do you think they've done that?
Yeah, it's a very good question.
This guy has only really lost to elite. And when I'm talking elite, I'm talking Kelly Pavlik. I'm talking one of the legends of the sport. Zerdo Ramirez, he fought not too long ago. This guy is a hell of a talent. He's pushing now to fight for the Bridgerweight world title. Alfonso El Tigre Lopez is a special fighter. He's also a promoter, and he now wants to fight for the Bridgerweight WBC Bridgerweight world titles. So you currently what's known as the NABF. So people, if you're watching over in Europe or the UK or anyone else in the world, that's almost like a European title, similar to that, or an intercontinental title, something of that nature. But that is the North American WBC champion. He won that. You've had 2 fights now at Bridgerweight. For me, it's a big move because you're a super middle even at some stage, and light heavyweight, very big, and you had to work hard to get that. Even though you may have hid it from me, it was pretty clear. It was pretty clear how hard it was to make these weights. Why have you moved up to Bridgerweight?
Well, I think it's the opportunities. Honestly, I think it's honestly the opportunities, and at the age that I'm at now. I had making light heavyweight was very difficult. I think with the COVID year, and just the downtime, we didn't have gyms quite as open as consistent. You're trying to work out at home. It was very difficult to make it work. And I think, just kind of bulked up a little bit, put on some weight, and it was like, let's we kind of bypass cruiserweight. Honestly, I really can be a cruiserweight, but there was some opportunities with the Bridgerweight. It was a new division. It had a lot of, it just had a lot of interest from the world, from the WBC, and WBC has always been very good to me. And I had the light heavyweight NABF title, even a super middle, intercontinental super middle title. So it was just something that we wanted to shoot for. Was a new division, big boys, but something I thought that we could handle.
So there's a big fight in the Bridgerweight division coming up between Alen Babic and Lukasz Rozanski.
Great fight.
I love Babic. He's been on the show before, and I loved him. I thought he was a great guy, and I've got a lot of respect for him. Yeah. But how do you feel that fight will go between the two?
This fight coming up with Babic, and I think that's gonna be a great fight. I think Babic's pressures, is his key. He's gonna take the licks. He's gonna keep the pressure on you, and he eventually slowly wears you down. I think but it's gonna be entertaining. They're both great fighters, and so I'm excited to watch it just to see who makes the adjustments. But it's gonna come down to who can do some small things a little bit better, because they both it's going to be strategic. But Babic, he really doesn't he kind of uses that relentless strength, and that just that bowling ball head of his. He just eats those shots and keeps coming. So it's going to be very interesting to watch.
Bowling ball head. Oh
yeah, it's solid. You look at it, it's just like, geez, imagine hitting that guy all the time.
He looks like a Spartan, doesn't he? He does. He looks. If he was on 300, the film, I don't think he'd even question it.
Absolutely,
but he is. He's brilliant. So I want to obviously part and parcel of this is, of course, Mauricio Sulaiman, the president of the WBC. I know very well. I speak to him on the regular. I'm going to send this once I've edited this to Mauricio Sulaiman, because I think now's your time. You've done this isn't just new to you. I was looking on the top 10 list. Your career is just I don't even know a lot of them, and if I don't know a lot of them, then that's saying a lot, because my wife hates boxing because she lives with me. So if I don't know a boxing, then something's wrong. Do you know what I mean?
But absolutely.
Question to the WBC, and then of course a partly question to you. So Rozanski hasn't fought for like 2-3 years.
Yeah,
he's talented and he's a big puncher. He's pretty much knocked out everybody he's fought. So it's going to be interesting, because Babic has been hurt a few times. So that's going to be quite interesting. But why have they picked Rozanski, who is, as far as I'm concerned, inactive, when they could have picked one of their current champions? Why do you think they've done that?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I get it asked quite a bit. I mean, I think it's the box, it's the business of boxing. There's a lot of unknowns that are going on in the background that, we're just, you kind of don't get all the details to. And, I think it's, sometimes I feel like it's just the the time, the placement, maybe the styles, just what they think was going to be a better matchup, or these promoters maybe feel that they can make more money in selling tickets. And so I think there's a lot of just business side that comes into these events. But it's unfortunate because you got someone like me who, yes, I'm a promoter, but I'm a local, USA, local Texas promoter. Right? A lot of my shows that I promote myself quite a bit. I fight for myself, but I don't have a big advisor or big manager or even promoter per se that is out there hustling and making the moves for me. So, we do it a lot of I do it a lot myself and my team and my company. And I think, it sometimes it just it doesn't get the respect as it should per se, because it's a tough sport already. And when you're trying to build your career and you're trying to stay relevant and you're trying to do things properly, fighting the best fighters, getting ranked in the top 10, giving lots of young fighters opportunities in the promotional game. And, you would hope that those things would pay off at some point, but sometimes it just seems that you're just kind of overlooked being a small guy.
Yeah. So you feel that maybe because you haven't got the big boys necessarily behind you, feel that if you did, maybe you'd have more opportunity, is pretty much what you're saying.
Yeah,
so you're
yeah.
getting overlooked.
I think you think you're kind of overlooked. I think you're kind of overlooked. I think you're just kind of you're not you don't have someone sitting per se. You don't have a hand a seat at the table. I guess it's someone there in the constant and in the talking with everybody. But I'm a very honest person. I'm going to work hard. I'm gonna give it the best bet that I can. I want to fight the best fighters, but doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and hoot and holler and scream and throw a fuss and create some type of promotional extravaganza per se that you see fighters do nowadays. That is not going to be me. It never has been me. But I feel like it's just respect is what I've always been given to people in this sport, and I think it's deserved.
So Alen Babic, relentless, come forward fighter. He fights the way he fights.
Yeah.
For you, you'd have to have similar to how Nathan did last night.
Yeah.
Plan A, B, C, D. You need to have that against him. Okay.
Absolutely.
What would be your approach in a fight against Alen Babic?
I mean, I think the approach is is strategic boxing. It's strategic boxing. It's fundamental boxing. It's the proper distance and range. And making sure that you're in great shape to keep him off balance and never let him set his feet to just get to banging on you. Definitely stay off the ropes because that's where he's at his best.
Yeah.
Where he's backing you up and getting you there, and then he's slinging the big punches. You got to take the big punches away from him. You got to make him want to move those feet. You got to keep touching them and touching them. You got to fight like a Usyk. You got to be very slick. You got to be very smart. You got to be strong enough to be able to sit in there and bang with the guy. You're not going to just, I'm never going to just backpedal and run away from anybody. You got to be able there and sitting there and bang the body and and let them know that you can be there. And then you got to get back on. You got to be smart, but it's got to be a very strategic fight. You got to be smart. You got to be in great shape.
I love it. So let's say either of them win. Do you what's your message? What is your message out there to not necessarily anybody, but to the world of boxing? Do you want this fight next?
I would love I love the fight next. I mean, I think I've deserved it. I think I put the time and effort over years of fighting great fighters. I've had some setbacks, I've had some injuries, but I've never let it make me put a doubt in my mind about quitting. I love the interview before this. He was like, it's what you think of yourself. I feel I can fight with the best. I know I can be a world champion, whether it's as a Bridgerweight or if I got to get down, I can still make cruiserweight, any of those divisions. But I want to fight the best fighters. I want a world title opportunity, and I feel like I've given a lot of time and effort to the sport. I think I've earned a shot. And so whoever wins the fight, doesn't matter who it is. I'm not calling out names. All of them are tough. All of them are great, and none of them are easy fights. It's just you want the opportunity. You want to fight the best fighters.